about second breakfast.
Time for second breakfast.
What's up, everybody? Monster from Breakdowns for Breakfast here with another installment of Second Breakfast. I hope everybody had a good spooky season. The month of October is past. I know we did a lot of family stuff, a whole lot of trunk or treats, and it was a good time. So today, I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but there's something that happened a couple weeks ago that because of spooky season, never got a chance to really address it. And then podcast math is hard. We've been through this. So you might have heard this mentioned in passing on an episode. But I wanted to take a minute to actually stop and talk about the passing of Limp Bizkit bass player Sam Rivers. Obviously, Limp Bizkit's one of my favorite bands. I've been a huge fan ever since 1997 when $3 Bills Y'all came out. And I've always been a huge fan of just all the different, I guess you could say, not iterations, but all the different parts of Limp Bizkit's catalog. Even, the more like mainstream stuff on this first, not $3 Bills Y'all, but on Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish. But then also when they got a little bit more experimental with like Results May Vary, like we did a whole episode on it. I have problems with it, but there's things I like too. And I talk all the time about how much I love Wes Borland and his guitar playing and his stage presence. But Limp Bizkit would not sound the way they do if it wasn't for that rhythm section of Sam Rivers and John Otto. Sam Rivers, in my opinion, is one of the absolute most underrated bass players in heavy music. He had a style and a technique to him that a lot of other bass players don't have. For as like wild as Wes Borland can be, and for as, love him or hate him, memorable as Fred Durst is, you've got bass lines like Rearranged. You've got bass lines like My Way. You've got the bass line on Take a Look Around. Like, without those bass lines, those songs fall apart. Sam Rivers had this ability to fill so much space. His style is one that, when I'm playing bass in bands, I try to not necessarily emulate, but keep in mind that sometimes you don't necessarily need to be like super low and super heavy. Sometimes you can play a little bit of a lead line to really, brighten the sound. And Sam really understood that. And John Otto, a great drummer, I've always loved his drum tone. And he and Sam really locked in together. And I think that's because they were cousins. And I really do feel like there might have been a familial kind of connection there that they were able to do so much. And I think it's a testament to how talented they are because they were, I feel like when everybody talks about Limp Bizkit, they always talk about Fred or Wes. And then you got DJ Lethal from House of Pain. So he's kind of like a known name. So then Sam Rivers and John Otto kind of get sort of looked over, and they didn't deserve it. They never have. They're incredible musicians as well. And so I just wanted to kind of give a shout out and give some love to Sam Rivers, because Limp Bizkit would not be Limp Bizkit without him. Just a little bit of details here. Sam Rivers passed away October 18th, 2025, and he was only 48 years old. And as someone who will be 40 in just a couple of weeks, that's kind of a heavy thing, Obviously, he had some health problems. Something actually I didn't really know, because Limp Bizkit did not really advertise this, but he stepped away from the band. I think it's in 2015 is when he took a hiatus. And then in 2018, he received a liver transplant because he had liver disease, apparently due to alcoholism, which not to get too in the weeds, but I've have family that have dealt with that, and I've seen what it can do to people, and it's very scary. People, I think that because alcohol is so prevalent and so easily accessible, it's not like some of these hard drugs, that people forget how dangerous it can be if you do, have those addictive tendencies. So, I feel for him there, and I hate that he was dealing with all that. I did go see them. I wanted to see them my whole life and just never was able to until the Loserville tour, which I think was 2022. So, again, like we talk about on some of these episodes, when you see a band that's been around for 20, 25 years, sometimes when you see them 20, 25 years after they came out, it's not quite the same. I would have much preferred to have seen Limp Bizkit in 99 or 2000, 2001. But you know what? I saw them in 2022 and it was still fun. That whole show was a shit show, and I think I talked about it before, so I won't go into detail. But I just remember seeing Sam on stage. I think he was wearing a complete white suit. And it's like, because Wes is Wes and because Fred is Fred, Sam sort of gets kind of overlooked. But I really do feel like, especially back in those earlier shows from the 90s, Sam is, he is full of energy. He is going nuts too. He's making wild faces. He was wearing crazy contacts. And it was sort of like the wildness of Wes Borland with the, that high energy kind of weirdo vibe from Sam as well, really kind of cemented the normality of Fred Durst in the middle, baggy pants, backwards hat. He just looked like a skater dude. So whether people were really picking up on it or not, I feel like Sam on stage and on record had a huge presence, and it would not be Limp Bizkit without him. And that's something that people are speculating now moving forward about, how do you replace him? Apparently back in that 2015 through 2018, whatever, they did have fill-in bass players. And, I didn't really know a lot of that stuff. So they've done it before. There was a brief period where John Otto wasn't full-time, and so they used a fill-in drummer there. Obviously the whole Wes Borland thing with, what's his name? John Smith or whatever, the most generic name possible. Mike Smith. Yeah, Mike Smith, from Snot and whatever. So I'm not saying they couldn't do it without him, and obviously they will continue on. Now, the question is, will they get a permanent bass player? Will they just use fill-ins? I don't know. There's been all kinds of speculation. I think it's mostly just fans throwing out there like, how cool would it be if Dirk from Incubus joined Limp Bizkit? Or I saw somebody mention Peanut from 311, and it's like, no, he's not going to do that. And I'm curious to see what happens. I really am, because it definitely, it hurt. I remember I was actually over at a friend's house. My wife and I were hanging out with another couple that we're friends with. They have some kids that play with our kids, and and so we're just hanging out, watching TV, talking, laughing, and it pops up on my Facebook feed that Sam Rivers died, and I immediately was like, oh no, oh, this sucks. And my friends around me were like, what happened? And I told them, and they were like, who? It was like, yeah, I get it. I understand that new metal is a niche, and you don't necessarily know a lot of them on a first name basis, and I get all that. But for people like me, this really hurt. Obviously, like I said before, Limp Bizkit's not my absolute favorite band, but I've been listening to them since 1997. So, for better or for worse, Limp Bizkit has been a part of my life for a long time. So, this sucked. It really did. And being only 48, knowing that he had health issues, all that just makes it even more sad. One other little thing that I also did not know was, shortly after he passed, Fred Durst posted a little video on Instagram talking about meeting Sam Rivers. And he didn't go into a lot of detail, but what I didn't know was apparently Fred saw Sam play in a different band. And this was in probably I think he said maybe 92 or something like that. And he was really, really impressed and was just like, wow, this guy is good. So when he got off stage, Fred basically said, hey, man, I've got this project, but I want to work on this other thing. And I think you would be the perfect fit for that. And Sam was like, yeah, dude, sure. Let's see where it goes. And they started to jam a little bit. I'm pretty sure Fred was playing guitar at this point, which is not a good thing, which is why they eventually got a guitar player. But yeah, I think it started with Fred and Sam, and Sam said, well, I know a drummer. He's a jazz guy. He's my cousin. And they called up John Otto, and that was the beginnings of Limp Bizkit. So, and again, I didn't know any of that. I didn't really know exactly how they all got together. But it seems like Sam was one of the founding members. And yeah, so for anybody that likes nu metal, for anybody that likes heavy music, hell, for anybody that likes fun music, this sucks. It really is sad that Sam Rivers has passed away. But you know what? We've got tons and tons of great music. If you go back and actually like watch some old live footage, watch him. He is every bit as entertaining as Wes and Fred. He's got a very distinct look and vibe on stage. He's got a lot of energy. He's also a lot of fun to watch, and he will be missed. As a guy who plays guitar and bass and is a huge fan of Limp Bizkit, Sam Rivers will be missed. And yeah, so I know we talk about Limp Bizkit a lot on the show. We've gotten some comments and some feedback about your opinions on Limp Bizkit, but how does this make you feel? Is this like, oh, so what? I'm not a fan, or does it make you appreciate Limp Bizkit a little bit more? Go back and revisit some of those bass lines and stuff. I don't know. For me, like I said, this sucks, but I love Limp Bizkit. I appreciate all that Sam did for the band, all that Sam did with Wes and Fred and John and DJ Lethal to make this genre of music as, you know, what it is, for better or for worse, I guess. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if this impacted you at all. And yeah, sorry to be a little bit of a downer today, but I really wanted to talk about it. And because we were in the middle of spooky season, I kind of had a theme going I wanted to keep. And so I just wanted to get around to doing this now. But my condolences to the Rivers family, to everybody in the Limp Bizkit community. Rivers, you will be missed. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great day.